and the omnibus. So I was forced into the Archers when I was a child. And look, it's come back to bite me later on. I'm awash with this stuff.
The Archers is the world's longest-running radio show, with more than 15,000 episodes broadcast. Despite being a rural flavour show, The Archers is recorded in the heart of...
Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're taking a look at some really dense dialogue and notes. There's a lot going on here.
It's packed. We've got impending events, some serious professional lessons, and even local crises all wrapped up together.
Exactly. And our job really is to pull apart this complex source material and find those practical nuggets, those human insights that you can actually use or, think about.
We're aiming for three main things today, I think. First, there's the whole homecoming situation, the logistics, sure, but also the emotional weight behind it.
Right. Then second, we've got these very practical, almost textbook lessons in security and managing people, real world stuff.
And third, how a small community, or really any group, deals with a crisis when it suddenly becomes very, very public, how you navigate that perception.
And just to set the scene quickly, there are these two big tensions running concurrently. George is getting out of prison, finally confirmed for this week after all the uncertainty.
And at the very same time, Susan's shop, the local village shop, is shut down because of, well, a pest problem. A serious one. So, pressure all around.
Okay, let's start with that homecoming. The anticipation around George's release. Because Amber, she's not just waiting, is she? She's actively constructing something.
Oh, definitely. The planning is intense. We know the welcome home meal is set for Thursday at Grange Farm. Clary and Emma are cooking his favorites. It's meant to be just close family, although Brad's invited specifically.
But it's more than just a meal plan, isn't it? It feels like she's trying to build this whole fantasy future.
It really does. She actually lists things they've never done together. Like never had breakfast together, never been to a proper restaurant or a club, not even just a walk to the pub for a pint.
And she's got places picked out already, like that brunch place.
Yeah, the gourmet brunch kitchen where she went with Will and Emma. She talks about wanting to, quote, spoil him rotten. There's mention of bubble bath, massage oil.
It feels like an attempt to erase the past, maybe. To overwrite the prison time with this perfect domestic scene.
I think that's a really sharp way to put it. It's intense emotional labor. She's scripting this return down to the last detail, trying to create a safe, maybe sanitized future. High stakes.
And speaking of sanitizing the past, that conversation she has with Brad is, well, it's awkward, isn't it? About the Bartby day.
Very. She feels she needs to thank him properly for that hug because everything else about that day was awful.
But she has to do it now, before George gets back.
Exactly. She says it herself, talking about it still upsets George. So she's walking this incredibly fine line, needing that connection with Brad, but having to manage George's potential reactions. Prioritizing his peace, perhaps.
It's a tightrope. Meanwhile, Brad and Neil, they're not exactly relaxed about George coming home, are they?
No, far from it. They are drowning in guilt. The source says plainly, they're the guilty party here.
And they're really tying themselves in knots, trying to avoid any difficult questions.
Absolutely. They're cooking up this whole cover story about spinning this yarn about seeing your Nellie, whatever that means precisely.
Just an excuse.
Right. And planning to pretend to go to the cinema on Friday night, George's first Friday out, just to dodge any potential scrutiny.
Wow. So the relief of him being back is just completely swamped by their own anxiety and guilt.
It really shows how secrets corrode things, doesn't it? They'd rather be absent than face the music, potentially.
Okay, let's switch gears completely now. Because while all this intense personal drama is unfolding, Brad is simultaneously trying to learn about professional detachment. He's shadowing Mick, the security guy.
Yeah, at this upscale venue, serving cocktails, Cosmos, Hedgerow mojitos. The notes even say it's a long way from Birmingham class security.
What does that phrase Birmingham class generally imply in this security context?
Usually it suggests something maybe a bit rougher, more hands-on, perhaps less focused on the subtle front-of-house stuff. Think busy clubs, maybe more direct intervention.
Okay, so Mick's teaching a different style. More proactive, maybe?
Exactly. More about prevention and calm control. And Mick lays out these core principles that honestly apply way beyond just bouncing. It's people management, really.
Let's break those down. What does Mick say is essential for a security operative?
Okay, first up, visibility. You have to be seen. That's a deterrent in itself.
Right.
And observation, constantly watching. Body language, behavior, spotting potential issues before they, blow up.
Makes sense. What else? Courage.
Yes, courage is on the list. But Mick stresses it has to be smart courage, not reckless. Avoid making bad situations worse.
And the funny thing is, Brad lists all these things, but he misses one, doesn't he? The crucial one.
He does. Mick has to add it in. Common sense. That's the glue that holds it all together.
Yeah, you can have all the training, but without common sense.
It falls apart. Mick really emphasizes that the front of house role is about keeping things calm. Lost bag, fire alarm, even a medical emergency like the guy having chest pains in the bar.
So the job isn't necessarily about tackling people.
Not primarily, no. It's about managing the situation, making sure paramedics can get through, keeping other guests calm, preventing panic. Control, but like calm control.
Okay, so if control is key, how do they handle someone who does seem like trouble? The person of interest protocol Mick mentions, he says you have to be permanently suspicious.
That's the mindset shift, isn't it? Professionally suspicious. When someone flags on your radar, the first step, Mick says, is polite conversation.
Polite, not challenging them.
No, that's the key. You want an assertive presence, but without being confrontational. It's tricky. You let them know you see them, but subtly. You don't obviously tail them, but you absolutely don't lose track of where they are.
That sounds incredibly difficult to get right, that balance.
And we see just how difficult almost immediately with Brad's attempt.
Oh, yeah. He tries to practice on Paul, a regular customer.
And Paul calls him a psychocop, a stalker. Creepy Brad. It just completely backfires.
So what went wrong? He was trying to be observant, wasn't he?
He was, but he missed the polite assertion part and went straight to intense scrutiny. He lacked the common sense, maybe, to gauge how his actions were being perceived. Instead of professional awareness, it came across as personal targeting. Creepy, like Paul said.
And Mick's reaction just nails it.
He basically says, well, you passed if the goal was to creep out the customers.
It's a perfect, if painful, lesson in how critical that balance is. Assertive, not aggressive. Aware, not creepy.
Definitely. Get the perception wrong and you've lost control before anything's even happened. It applies to so many roles, not just security.
Okay, one more shift. Let's bring it back home, to the village, and look at that other crisis Susan's shop.
Right, the shop's shut. Could be days, could be all week. And it's because of rats. Furry friends, as the source delicately puts it.
And Susan's reaction is pretty strong, isn't it? She sounds completely overwhelmed.
Yeah, she's talking about just throwing in the towel, ready to give up, which tells you how vital that shop is, not just to the village, but to her. It's her livelihood on the line.
But the community steps in, right?
Yeah.
Bob reminds her how much the village needs the shop.
That immediate rally of support. And Neil even tries to distract her, showing her a video of Jazz washing the pigs. A bit random, maybe, but it's comfort.
But then there's the practical side. The pest control people are involved.
Yep, surveyed today, coming back tomorrow to, well, deal with the problem. Extermination seems necessary.
And this is where the public perception thing really kicks in. Joy apparently advised keeping it quiet.
Yeah, worried about bad publicity. Rats in a food shop. Not a great look, obviously.
But discretion is kind of impossible at this point.
Completely. Alan, the church warden, confirms the pest controllers are there. He accepts it has to be done, even if he'd prefer a humane way. But as Bob apparently points out, you can't exactly hide a massive branded pest control van parked right outside the church.
No, you can't.
The secret's out. The van tells the whole story.
So the lesson there is,
Yeah.
sometimes trying to be discreet just makes it worse when the evidence is that obvious.
I think so. At that point, transparency, even if it's uncomfortable, is probably the only way. The narrative is already out there. You can only manage your response to it. You can't hide the big van.
Okay, so let's bring these threads together. We've got George's return, this incredibly fraught emotional event. We've got Brad and Neil's secret guilt festering away. And we have Brad's somewhat clumsy introduction to professional security principles.
And this is where it gets really potent, I think. Tying that security training directly back to George.
Mick gives Brad that really stark warning at the end, doesn't he?
It does. It's serious. He says quite bluntly, when George comes home, watch that you're not drawn into his world.
Wow, that's heavy. He's telling Brad to be suspicious of his own friend. Apply the training at home.
Essentially, yes. He goes further. Mick states that as a trained operative, he would mark George out instantly, the moment he saw him, regardless of Brad's loyalty or friendship.
Why, though? Is it personal? or purely professional?
It seems purely professional. Mick isn't making a moral judgment on George. He's applying risk assessment. George comes from prison, a controlled environment. That history alone presents certain objective risk factors a security professional is trained to look for.
So it's the training itself demanding suspicion.
Exactly. Friendship demands trust, loyalty, relief. But Mick's training, the mindset Brad just spent the night learning, demands prominent suspicion, observation of behavior, looking for anomalies.
That puts Brad in an absolutely impossible position, doesn't it? He's just learned how to spot potential trouble, according to Mick.
Mm-hmm.
Only to be told the biggest person of interest might be the person he's most relieved to see. He has to choose friend mode or security mode.
It's the double-edged sword of that kind of knowledge, isn't it? Once you're trained to see certain patterns or risks, it's very hard to switch that off, even when you desperately want to, even with people you love.
So wrapping up this deep dive, we've seen, I think, 3 really clear things. First, the incredible emotional effort, the scripting that goes into managing a difficult homecoming, often trying to sidestep past trauma.
Yeah, that was striking. Second,
Oh.
that security playbook, it really boils down to common sense, married with that careful balance of being assertive but polite, visible but not threatening. Crucial for any kind of people management, really.
And finally, how local crises, like Susan's shop, need that community support but also demand transparency once the big van is parked outside. You can't hide the obvious.
Exactly. So if we pull all that together, Mick's focus on permanent suspicion, watching body language, looking for anything out of the ordinary, maybe we can leave you with this thought to chew on. Given everything we've just discussed about security observation, and considering George is coming straight from a highly restrictive, controlled environment like prison, what specific nonverbal cues, what kind of body language might George actually exhibit when he returns that someone like Mick with that trained eye would pick up on instantly? What would make him mark George out, as he put it? Something to think about based on what we've uncovered today.
So what are you doing now?
Just getting ready for the next episode. Just
And,
moving mics around.
So what do you do?
I do the spot effects on the archers. Any
Are you what we
movements
call Foley then?
and- kind of. Yep.
Okay. And these are all part of the paraphernalia of production.
Yep. That's the ball bar. That's.
This one.
Yep. That's.
Haley so wanted to be in their own place when their baby came. It's due in 2 months. Not much chance of that now. No. I mean, it would have been a stretch for them financially, mind, but I just wish there was something practical I could do to help them, Caroline.
I think The Archers has had this immense popularity over the years, basically because it has always very accurately reflected the reality of life and living in a rural community at whatever